everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. Thank you so much to those of you that have been watching my videos, commenting and liking and going back onto old videos and watching them. You're all helping me raise money for Natasha's Allergy Research Foundation. And actually, since I said about this, you must all be such charitable people. I know you're all very, very kind, but you must be such charitable people for helping. Because since I mentioned about anything that I make for my channel in the month of August and September being donated to charity, my watch hours have really gone up. In fact, I could actually set up membership now, can you believe? Because I've had way over 4,000 hours of watch time. So thank you so much. Very much appreciate your comments, your likes, your suggestions. And this video, you're going to see me very busy in the house. There's lots of things that I'm working on today and yesterday. So you'll see me start with the washing. So I do quite a lot of washing. You'll see me sorting out a cupboard in the kitchen. Why, you might ask? Oh, that's because my husband's using the top of the cupboard as storage again. So the cupboard appeared full and there was some loose food, he said. So that was why various things ended up on the top of the cupboards. So I had a little look and he was right. There was some jellied sweets that had split open and were loose in the cupboard. So I took all them out, put them in the bin or the food bin, and then put the other things away. You'll also see me trying to clear up the kitchen. I really feel like I've neglected the kitchen. I know we've been chatting about that in the comments, just because I've been trying to do so many other things. I sorted out a bit of the hall, and you also see me put my new IKEA mat on the front doorstep and tidy all round. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. And then I also show in this video some of the DIY jobs that I've been doing. So I mentioned about how I've been doing some decorating, which is part of our business. So I needed to do some repair work on a wall. So you'll see me doing a bit of work on that. And you'll see me plant my kohlrabi out. Those of you that are gardeners, please tell me, am I too late? I saw someone's post of like a full-size kohlrabi that they'd already grown that they were eating. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm way too late. They were in the greenhouse and when I came back from Italy. I just haven't been able to plant them all out. I do a couple of jobs in the garden that you'll see as well. Sort out my washing. So this video is really jam-packed full of loads of different things. So I do hope you enjoy it. It's Monday as I'm doing this voiceover. So I hope you've all had a really lovely weekend. This morning, me and my husband did the school run together. And my daughter went into school happily. And we came back and got a few bits and pieces ready for me to do the decorating. And my husband dropped me off at the house. My little Fiat 500 won't fit that much in the boot. And also can't fit the stepladder and so on. So he dropped the bits off and he came back and did some work. And then he had a meeting in our nearest city. So I stayed, and first of all I painted all the chimney breast where we'd done a bit of repair work. And unfortunately, why is there so many different colours of magnolia? There's like, 50 different shades of magnolia. I wish I'd just gone for white, although you can get 50 shades of white, that seems. 50 shades of grey, no, 50 shades of white. So you could see where the repair had been. So I needed to completely paint the chimney breast and also part of the ceiling. And then if you watch that a little bit later in the video, you'll see where I'm repairing the wall. Now we've discovered why the wall was damaged, and that's because there was Artex in the past, and they've not done anything to the Artex. They've just skimmed over the top of it. Is Artex something that people have in other countries? I mean, back in the United Kingdom, in England, people were putting Artex on a lot of walls and ceilings, probably in the 80s. Some was worse than others. The pattern actually on this wall is not too bad, but basically what they've done is they've just skimmed over the top of the Artex without scuffing it, without keying it, without doing anything. So I stayed there until probably about 11:30. The lady, because my husband did the bathroom, painted the bathroom, and the bathroom does need to have another coat. Looks a bit patchy. And the lady did say, "Oh my God, was I going to be staying for that as well?" But there's other things that I needed to do. I couldn't spend the whole day there. So I came home. Well, I didn't know. First of all, I went to the supermarket. So got the shopping in for the week. Came back to the house. Had made my lunch. And then I decided to do some work on this workshop that I'm delivering tomorrow. With the view that I was going for a walk with my friend this evening. So I did probably 2.5 hours, 3 hours work. I also, and you'll see me on this video do that, I decided to do a big load of cooking to help my future self. I love that expression. I use that quite a lot at work when I'm talking to my learners about things they can do to help their future selves. So I decided that'd be quite good to do some meatball dinners and some bolognese dinners and then put them in the freezer. So if I'm really short of time, I can just get one of those meals out of the freezer. I usually do a few of those, but I don't very often buy all the ingredients in order to specifically do that, if you see what I mean. And then I picked my daughter up. She had choir this afternoon. Came home and we had dinner, which my husband helped me do a little bit of because I needed to finish a couple of emails very quickly. So we all had dinner together. And then this evening we had a school meeting online, just as a bit of an introductory meeting, really. There wasn't that much that I didn't know, but it was just sort of quite good to get a bit of an update and an overview at the start of the school term. And I had messaged my friend to say, could we meet a bit later or a bit earlier? But unbeknown to her, her husband had messaged me and said she can't walk at all because I'm taking her out for a birthday meal, which she doesn't know about, which is really nice. But actually, I hadn't seen my friend for ages and I was looking forward to it, which is a bit of a shame. And the thing is, I've not seen her for ages. And the reason being, I'm just trying to think if I told you about this. I don't think I have. She had tickets for a theatre performance and invited me. And I was really looking forward to going. She couldn't get any babysitter. And I wish she'd actually said to me, Emma, do you mind babysitting for me? Because I would have just taken my laptop or a book and just sat round her house. I'd have been quite happy to do that. So the day of us going to the theatre together, she messaged me and said, I've been able to find a babysitter. The theatre's off. I'm going with my husband. And I just couldn't believe it. I mean, obviously, her husband is always going to come before friends. I completely understand that. But if that had been me and my husband and I'd offered his ticket to a friend and they had agreed and were looking forward to it, and then we got a babysitter, I would have said to my husband, can you believe it? We've got a babysitter, but I've already offered the ticket. And there's no way I would have gone back against that. I'd have been really miffed about it. But on the other side of it, maybe she feels so able to be open. I felt like she was just making use of me, but maybe it's also that she feels that she can be very, very open with me and that I'm not going to get offended. Only I was offended. And then since that time, we went to Italy, she went away, we were busy in my summer holidays, so I just haven't seen her. And I don't know, it's good, isn't it? I used to go every Monday evening. We'd do around 5 kilometres walk, talking as we walk, so it was like good exercise, good to catch up. So I think it would be quite nice to start doing that again. So it's a shame that we didn't do that today. And next Monday I can't go because my husband's in Holland for work. But hopefully maybe the Monday after. So you can see I've got often a few bits and pieces at my doorway. So I've got that cat, which did belong to a neighbour. And then I've got lots of different rocks that I like to stack. But it was starting to look a little bit untidy. So I decided to sort of change things around. Now I might actually get rid of the cat or move the cat to a different place. And also you see the white bit along there where my stones are, where I've weeded. I need to paint all that. because look how messy it is. It's a bit frustrating me doing this painting work at this other house when I keep seeing jobs that I need to paint at home. And the next part of my video goes a bit funny, I'm sorry. I put it on the wrong recording. It should be 5 times and this went on to auto. It doesn't last very long because then I realise. But you'll see me busy just trying to sort things out. And something I reflected on in the kitchen was that the cupboard under the sink, which used to be a ridiculous state, basically you opened the cupboard and everything fell out, and the drawer, you know what I used to call my truck drawer, both of those have stayed in a really good position. And I can find everything in the drawer, and I go to the drawer and usually it opens and closes quite smoothly. I do have about 5 reels of sellotape in there, and when they're used up, it's going to be even easier. But that, you know, that's required work, because it's been quite a few times I've been tidying up in the kitchen and I've turned and just want to shove it in the truck drawer, and then I've thought, no, it doesn't belong in the drawer. I don't want the drawer to turn into a muddle again. I've got something to tell you. On one of my last videos I mentioned about how all my whites were sitting in the washing machine and I'd put them on the dry cycle and I needed to take them out. Well, my husband had a really important event the other day where he had to wear a shirt. Doesn't very often have to wear a white shirt and a tie, but it turned out that he needed it the next day. So he said to me, I've got my shirt to wash. So I was like, wasn't that in the linen basket? No, that had been on his chair. So the white shirt hadn't gone into the whitewash. So he said, what do I put it on with the washing machine? What settings do I need to do? And I said, well, actually, we need some more whitewash powder. He was like, that'll be okay, just for a one-off, which he's right, that is okay for one-off. So I said, you're never going to get that dry in time. He said, that'll be okay, because I'll iron it in the morning, and the iron will make it dry. So I said, okay, that's fine, that's up to you. So the next morning, he took the shirt out of the washing machine, he ironed it all, he put it on, looked very smart, off he went, and all sorted, all great. I then went to put my washing out in the garden because it was quite bright, and I found piles of all my daughter's white socks, white underwear and other white clothes, all wet, piled up on the radiators in the dining room. I thought, what's going on here? I checked all the items. You can guess what happened, can't you? He opened the door of the washing machine, saw white clothes in there, thought, none of these have been washed, and just put them all washed again. So, they're all wet now for me to try and dry. And of course, sod's law, it's raining. It's been raining. I actually went to put the heating on today. I thought I had put the heating, and I came back to the house, and the house did feel quite hot. But my husband said, no, the boiler's turned off. So at the moment, the heating can't kick in. But if it continues raining and drizzly, I'm going to need to have the heating setting on, because I can't have all this washing. I've got now the white load and I've got 2 white loads because I did all the bed linen, which is white, and 2 coloured loads, and I can't have that all sitting around the house. I've got nowhere to hang it. I need to get a new airer, and quite a few of you said to me about the heated airer, so I'm going to look into that. But the airer that I've got, which is actually a second-hand one, is the metal is broken, and I've sort of taped it up, so I need to get a new one. So you can see me in the garden at the moment. I'm getting all the kohlrabi out and just planting that. Because each plant is only 1 bulb, I've done quite a lot, because we do like roasted kohlrabi with our roast dinners in the winter. So you can see me sort of looking around thinking, where am I going to put all of these? And I'm just hoping that I'm not too late. Kohlrabi tend to be very hardy to the frost, so I'm hoping that they will we'll have, a number of weeks or a month of warm weather, and then I'll look to pick them sort of November time. If they're not full size, that doesn't matter, as long as at the moment I've got no bulb. So I'm really hoping they do get a decent size. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of your comments. So thank you so much for the comments that you add to my videos. I read every single one. I try to comment to every single one, written comment, but if I'm not able to do a written comment, then I often read them out. So the first comment that I wanted to read was from Bex1920. She says, "Hi Emma, you should do some craft with your buttons, maybe a picture that you can hang and admire." I like that idea, but I am a bit strange. There's just something about buttons that I like in a jar. I just like seeing them. Annie says, "Hi, Mr. Beckham's washing machine cleaner will remove the smells from your washing machine. I get mine from the pound shops or Tesco and do mine every couple of months." Okay, thanks for that, Annie. I shall look out for that. So that's Dr. Beckman's washing machine cleaner. I shall check. Zoe says, "Hi Emma, funny you spoke about buttons. As a child, I remember my mum having an old glass Horlicks jar full of buttons. I'd sit and empty them out, strangely liked the feel of them." See, I'm not the only one. "And how pretty is Mini Emma's bow in her hair. Did you make that? Beautiful. Sending special love." Oh, thanks, Zoe. No, I didn't make it, but we really liked it too. A lady made it who works in the Rose in Great Yarmouth. And she'd made all these bows and they were really quite cheap. I think that was only £3. So my daughter decided to buy it out of her own money. And the lady said, "Oh, I just sit and make them while I'm watching television." And the amount of work that's gone into them, obviously she's enjoying making them and does it for pleasure, but she can't make much money when she buys the fabric and so on. And I think it's really important to support small businesses. So if anybody's in the area and wants to have a wander down the roads in Great Yarmouth, it's well worth a look. Well worth a look. And the funny thing is, I know quite a few of you follow Remy Clog. And if you see one of her most recent videos, she showcases Cromer, which is very close to me. She went on holiday to Cromer and had a fantastic time. So if you're interested in knowing a little bit more about the area, then check out Remy's blog on Cromer, and you could let her know that I've signposted you to her if you don't already follow her. Pam says, "Hi Emma, great to see you. I do hope your daughter's crumble didn't taste salty, easy to forget to rinse." Now the good news is that it didn't taste salty and she really enjoyed it, apart from probably this last portion, which was today, that unfortunately it tasted of roast chicken. And I think, so she wouldn't eat it this morning, I think it was because the roast chicken went into the oven as it was cooling down. And she said, "Oh, it tasted of roast chicken," and she didn't want to eat it all. So my husband gets up and does breakfast, so he got us something different. But the good news is there's lots of blackberries on the bush outside, lots more blackberries. So we'll make another one. "Shame about your washing machine," Pam said, "having that smell. Our old one was a Zanussi. It went exactly the same. When we had the Miele one, I told the engineer, who said it's often a build-up on the outside of the drum from washing powder, liquid or softener. The bacteria in the residue causes a smell. Ugh. This Miele one, or Miele, that looks like an Italian word. Miele is at least 8, possibly 9 years old now. Still an excellent washer, but every week or so, depending upon the number of loads it's done, it comes up on the display, hygiene wash required. I then put towels on a 75-degree wash, and touch wood, I've never had so much of a sniff of that damp smell. I may have missed how many times you put your washer on a hot wash, but maybe try it once a week for a while and see if it improves." That's if you don't already do that. Apologies if you do. Okay, well, I'm learning things now, Pam, so I've got a few questions about this. So I put my coloured towels on a coloured wash, which I think is 30 or 40. I'm guessing that's 30 or 40 degrees. And I put my whites on an eco whitewash, which I think is 60. So are you saying that I could put coloured towels on a 75 wash? Is that what you're saying? Or would I put white towels on a 75-degree wash? Any advice appreciated. Pam says, I like that you've a cupboard dedicated to pantry party items. I reckon that's really good because there's no hunting for the various bits and pieces then. Yeah, and also, because it's in that corner behind my lamp and by my settee, I don't go there very often. So just, they're all there. It's that, what's that Marie Kondo method, you know, putting the things close to hand that you use and the things that you don't can kind of go away in a corner. So that's what I've done then. And I'm sure there are some things I could probably get used to, but I just get rid of. But I think it's a bit silly getting rid of like some of the platters and so on, because I do use them probably 3 times a year. And it seems silly to buy them, doesn't it, 3 times a year? Yes, I look after my grandchildren during school holidays and afternoons after school until my daughter or son-in-law pick them up after work. I love every minute, exhausting at times, but I wouldn't trade a minute with them for anything. Oh, that's so lovely, Pam. So nice to hear someone that loves spending time with their grandchildren. I'd be the same if ever I'm blessed to be a grandparent. How lovely. Gabby Fowle says the washing machine repairman told my daughter all new front loaders get that mildew smell unless you leave the door cracked open. Okay, thank you for that. Rebecca Corsa Wallace. Now she's commented about guides. She says, I definitely think about guides. Do you still have time for it? I used to do the PTA at my kids' school and the school I worked at. It got to the point where I felt I was being used. Oh, I used to say yes to everything. As soon as I started saying no, people would guilt trip me all the time. I no longer help on the PTA. I'm feeling so much better not doing it. Isn't it a shame? Like they end up losing you were probably really, really good, and they made you feel like that, and they end up losing you completely. I've got some good news on this. So you know the Mondays, I said that I wasn't free to go on the call to talk about it. And then the message back was, no, I actually said, sorry, I'm not free on Mondays at the moment. So they thought that was just about the call. So then they said, well, what Mondays can you cover for the first few weeks? So I said, I repeated the same message. I said, sorry, I'm not free on Mondays at the moment. That turns out that there isn't just turning up and looking after the guides and seeing to the parents. It's running the evenings. So you have to sort out the activities they're doing. So I was like, so now the lady that I do my guide group with, she's offered to do one of the evenings, and now she's having to organise it all. So I'm really thankful that I said no. I mean, I just thought that I was going to have to turn up at 7, leave at 8:30, and someone else was going to be organising it. But no, they're expecting you to organising it as well. Brooke says, I was saying yay, yay, yay to myself when you shared that you bought baskets IKEA. From IKEA, I had also been thinking about suggesting the shoe cabinets from IKEA. What do you think of them? I liked them, but I felt like I didn't really want to put them in my hall. I mean, if I could put them in my cupboard, I would think about that. But I like them I shove them in my cupboard and nobody can see them. I know the cupboard needs to be more organised, but everyone can forget about them. And I think if I had cupboards, would they actually be used? No, I'd be picking up the shoes and putting them in the cupboard, just like I do now. As a former teacher and an avid reader, I fully support keeping her books in her bedroom and putting all toys except the stuffies she keeps in her bed or uses for decor in the playroom. Yeah. I'm guessing that man was making rock candy at first. I thought it looked like bacon. Yeah, it did a bit. Yeah, he was. I thought you'd be interested to see that. It's the same equipment that was used in the 1950s, can you believe? I would suggest learning how many calories you should have per day based on your weight. Then make sure you are eating plenty of protein, vegetables and fibre. I really struggle with not having added sugar, flavoured syrup in coffee, soda, candy, etc. Adding toning exercises, even with just my body weight, has helped me to firm up. I certainly don't want you to answer here, but your hormones may be fluctuating if you are getting close to perimenopause, which certainly affects your weight. This is a good beginner walking exercise video you may like. I plan on doing it later today. Oh, thank you. I'll have a look at that link. And then Brooke says, I enjoy hearing about and seeing all the places you visit. Thank you for that post. Yeah, us women go through a lot, don't we? We go through a lot of all different changes and things that affect us in so many ways. And I think it's quite good nowadays that people have started to talk about it. Beck said, have you considered intermittent fasting? That has worked for me in the past and I'm thinking of doing it again. I've gained over the winter because she's in Australia. Now that the weather is warming up, I'm feeling motivated to do something good for myself. That's super. And I messaged and put thank you, Bex, for reminding me of this. So before we went away to Italy, I was quite regularly eating dinner early. So trying to finish dinner by 5:30 in the evening. Then just drinking water until bedtime. And then you skip breakfast and have a late lunch. And that is really good for your body. Often people eat so late and that means that your whole body is focused on digestion and is not focused on renewing your cells and repairing your body. And if there's any signs of any problems in your body tackling that. Instead, it's just focused on digestion and you don't tend to feel hungry. So I'm going to start doing that again. So I very much appreciated her reminding me. So what did you all think of my sign that I made? So my mum's partner got the wood for me and I painted it, and then you saw my husband finish painting it as I then cut the hedge. So I've nearly done the sign. So I'm quite pleased with how it's turning out. And then what did you think about that big area that I need to repair on the wall? So yeah, I'm going to see how that turns out because I've got a special, it's new type of filler. So fingers crossed that it turns out okay. Now, in this part of the video, you can see I brought all the bags in from the shopping, but there was not anywhere actually for the shopping to go. I do like to get it out on the work surface. I know people always say to me, you're double-handing your shopping. I know I am. I'm duplicating efforts, but I like to get everything out of the bags, then put the bags away, and then see where everything is. So yeah, I did a fair amount of washing up before starting because I wanted to cook those meals that I was telling you about, as well as I needed to sort the lunch and I needed to put all the shopping away. So I decided, right, let's clear some washing up. And I'll be honest, this is because my husband did us a fantastic roast dinner. We had roast chicken yesterday and I didn't do any clearing up. And I needed to have done some clearing up and didn't do any. I did some work that I needed to do. So that's why all the washing up is piled up like that. So a couple of more comments before I close the video. So you've still got quite a lot of the video to watch. Still lots more in the kitchen that I'm doing, but a couple more comments that I want to share with you. So Helen, Yorkshire. Helen, you must be from Yorkshire. I can't quite remember, but I'm guessing that you must be. Yes, it's a real shame about more allergies. I'm undergoing desensitisation therapy for house mite allergy on the NHS. So far it's helping with my asthma and allergy symptoms. Now I'm really interested in this, Helen, and I talked to my husband about it. So what type of hoops did you have to jump through in order to get desensitisation therapy? God dear, tongue twister. What types of hoops did you have to get through? How many hoops in order to get that on the NHS? I never knew that was available on the NHS. That's made me think that I could maybe do something for my daughter. Helen says, the last treatment I sat next to a lady who's having the same treatment, but for bee sting allergy. She was stung, but extremely fortunately, her neighbour who has allergies and an EpiPen which he administered to her and saved her life. Oh my goodness, she had no idea she was allergic and feels incredibly lucky to be here. How amazing that the neighbour had an EpiPen and recognised that the person was having an extreme allergic reaction. I mean, goodness me, it's lucky enough that the person's got the medication and secondly made the decision to use the EpiPen. Wow, what a neighbour. Yeah, that's really interesting. I know that this charity, Natasha's Allergy Research Foundation charity, they're looking at how to use the actual products for desensitisation, whereas I think in hospitals that pharmaceutical industry are doing like manufactured versions, which is obviously very, very expensive for the NHS. So I'm very interested in that, Helen. Highland Journal Art said, "Hi Emma, I think the skirting boards are called that because the boards that skirt around, i.e. go around the edge of the wall." Yeah, I think you're right, but it sounds silly, but I just never thought that before. Never thought about that before until somebody sort of questioned, someone from Germany questioned the language. And Highland Journal Art says, "I love hearing your voiceovers and watching your videos." Well, thank you very much for that. I very much appreciate that. Teresa469, so this is Teresa. She said, "I love your videos, Emma. I love watching you clean your kitchen. I find it quite fulfilling. You don't have a lot of counter space like me, so it looks worse than it actually is. I also think everyone should scrape their leftovers into the food bin and also come and get their dinner when you plate it up. You're an amazing hard worker and you have come an enormous way since you first started your channel." So a couple of things about that. Yes, you are right about scraping the food in the food bin. Sometimes they can't do that because the food bin is full. And they do normally come and get their dinner when it's plated up. Often my husband does dinners. So if it's plated up by him, we'll all come and get it. And if it's plated up by me, but that might have been because I was videoing, I just might have walked out the room and just took it through for people. She says, "You're an amazing hard worker and you've come an enormous way." Oh, it's lovely. Thank you very much. "P.S. I love your lamp and had to laugh when a few people thought it was wallpaper." Yeah, you can see why they did think that though, can't you? Like a big roll. I could see what they meant when I watched the video back. Could you elevate on top of something to show it off more, or put it in your hall near your door? Yeah, I could do. A couple of other people said about that, and taking it out of the lounge, because the lounge is cosy, aka classed as small, I think people mean. The funny thing is about room sizes, our house is bigger than average houses, I would say, in the United Kingdom. Lots of people live in like what our first house was, which is like classed as sort of 2 up, 2 down, and the rooms are quite a bit smaller. But I like the lamp in here because it is used a lot. So probably from now until sort of February time, it'll be on most evenings and the main light will be switched off. So, and I like the way that it makes the room look. It does make the room look cosy. Karen Howard says, "Kitchen counter over the fridge." Yeah, that's a basket idea. I read that comment out the other day. Some of the comments are instantly when the video is put up and then others are a bit later, so I don't want to duplicate myself. But Karen's idea is quite a good one. I like that. Take everything off the corner of the kitchen cabinet into a basket and then sort through the basket away from the kitchen. I really like that idea. So you can see there I've now cooked some meatballs. So I did brown the meatballs off. I never usually do that, but my husband says that he always does that and that works better apparently. So I did brown them off in the frying pan. Just felt like that gave me something extra to wash up, to be honest. But there's 24 in that. And I worked out probably we have 4 each, 3 or 4 each. So it's only 2 meals. And I think now I'll probably have this tomorrow. And then the other I will freeze. And then I also cooked bolognese. And I was somewhat unimpressed with how that cooked up. So Lidl have changed the way that they package their mince, which is fine, apart from the fact that it just felt like, I'm sorry for those of you that are vegan or vegetarian, but it just felt like a massive great slab of this raw meat, which I just thought was horrendous. Just really not appetising at all. and it didn't have the consistency of mince. And when I said to my husband about it, he said, oh, it's because you didn't brown it off. Well, I never ever brown off mince. I normally just put it in with the passata, tin of tomatoes, 2 onions or 1 onion depending upon the amount I'm making, and some herbs. And then I'll add it with, I'll probably do beans or broccoli on the side, and then maybe garlic bread. So I'm not very pleased with how it's turned out. So that'll probably be frozen into smaller portions, so it'll be ready in the freezer. And I did look, because I'm getting a bit short of certain, I think someone said to me that they get rid of all their lunch boxes every so often, and I was looking at the lunch boxes I've got, and I thought actually I could do with some lunch boxes which just hold a serving for 3. They don't need to be that big, and then I could just slot them in the freezer. You'd be pleased to know my freezer is in a much better situation because I've been running it down, taking things out of it, using things up, and not buying things unless I've checked what I've got in my freezer. I have got some duplicates in the freezer still, but a lot fewer. So that means I've got a bit of space, and that means I could get some small containers and just put in there for my meals. The other thing I've got to remember is to carefully label them. Because I don't know if anyone else does this, but I always think, oh, I don't. It's a bit like what I do with my grow plants. Oh, I don't need to label them, because I'll remember that. I just need to remember that those pots are this and those pots are that. And the next day I go out in the greenhouse, I can't remember. I do the same with the food portions. I think, oh, I'll mark on there, that's suitable for the 3 of us, or it's only a portion for 2 or whatever. No, I'll remember that. And then the next time I look in the freezer, of course it changes, it looks different once it's frozen, doesn't it? And I look at it and can't work out what it is and how many people it's for. So I'm going to do my labelling better as well, all to help my future self. Anyway, I'm nearly at the end of the video. Thank you so much for all you watching my videos, commenting on my videos, liking my videos, watching old videos. For those of you who have recently found my channel, going back through some of my older videos, this really helps me, and thank you very much for the support. And I guess you've probably seen what I'm chopping up and what I've got on my head. So I was chopping up small onions, and boy, I was crying. So I went in the cupboard under the stairs and into the swim bag and got my goggles on, like you do. Anyone else do that, or is it just me? Anyway, thanks very much, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!